It is the Riot, and we're here to prove to you that things don't stay dead.
They come back.
They do.
Better than ever, even better than before.
There he is. Look at that. Back from the dead. And
Yeah. Just like
If you want to, make sure
I'm
to
back.
hop on to Radio U Riot or Radio U on Facebook. If you want to see Andrew, I'll give you a second if you want to hop over there, and then you can watch him.
so we have with us Andrew from Project 86. No,
Disciple.
I'm kidding. Andrew from Disciple and I Am Empire.
Yeah, which is back with new music.
That's right. And I did play guitar for Project 86 on a tour once, so
It is true.
kind of
You've done everything.
Kind of universal.
So Andrew,
I've gotten to do a lot of cool things.
what have you, you're in lockdown. It looks like you're stuck inside an attic somewhere. What have you been doing this whole time?
Thank you. Now, this is my home studio, and it's sort of an attic. There's obviously the A-frame roof here, but I assure you it's climate controlled, so everything's cool. But no, I've been having a good time since lockdown started in the midst of all the craziness, just doing a lot of recording. I've been composing full-time now for the last year for a company called Soundstripe, but I've also been busy with Disciple, still recording and writing. And then with I'm Empire, we had these songs from the Tooth and Nail days, as you guys remember, that were sort of in the vault, so to say. And 8 years later, they have now been released.
Ooh.
Okay, so you're saying this is not, you guys didn't get back together to record these. They've just been
Sitting for a while?
sitting and you're just releasing them.
That's right. There's 3 songs from the Anchor sessions that we did in Baltimore with Brian McTurnan in 2012. 2 of the songs that ran out the little 5-track EP are acoustic versions of songs from Kings, the first album we did, which was 10 years ago in 2010, if you can believe that. That was the first time I was ever out here in Nashville, and now it's home.
Aw. So
So-
what made you decide to just bring them out of the vaults to do I Am Empire stuff again?
Yeah, well, we've stayed in touch. I mean, those are all, my buds from back home that I've known for most of my life. And we've always talked about doing new songs, doing new music. Touring isn't really on the cards for us anymore. But for years that we've had these songs. And I had some conversations with Austin during lockdown and the beginning phases of all this. And we were talking about how it'd be cool to put these songs out to sort of, give people something positive, hopefully
Yeah.
something good in the midst of all the craziness. And it sort of worked out because right as that was happening, our A&R guy for Disciple at Tooth and Nail now is who was our A&R guy for I'm Empire all these years ago. So I sort of had this segue to say, hey, by the way, as I'm having a conversation with him about turning in new Disciple music that we're self-producing now, legit getting songs from this environment to this record label that I grew up listening to just blows my mind. But in the middle of doing all that, I was like, hey, by the way, there's these songs that I'm Empire never put out, and
What do we
we were
think?
talking about maybe doing that.
Yeah, all that
Yeah,
works
what do you
out.
think?
So this is Andrew, and again, we were joking, but he is a part of a lot of groups. But with Disciple, you'll know him from there, and then I Am Empire, returning with the EP of some of the music that never got sent out or released last time.
So Andrew, how weird does the old I Am Empire stuff sound to you now?
That's a good question. It's kind of funny because along this journey, I've sort of become a producer and obviously composer. So I'm doing a lot of my own recordings and just always to doing guitar, different guitar techniques and tracking. And so to hear guitar I recorded 8 years ago is like, who did that? It sounds definitely different from what I do now. So hopefully it sounds good. It sounds just like the rest of that Anchors album that
Sure.
we put out in it actually came out in 2013. And it's great because it's kind of a time capsule. Like we were just joking about how, doing interviews on one day and they air the next day, it's time travel. Well, with recording, it's like whether you're just doing a few takes in a row or you're waiting 8 years to put out a song, it's time travel. And, that's what makes musicians the biggest geniuses in all the world.
So for I Am
basically where it
Empire
gets
fans,
freaking
you
back.
should be listening tonight because it's going to be on the Battle of the Buzz, which will be a nice trip back.
Nice.
Yeah, so on Battle of the Buzz tonight, you can hear Clever Nightmare from I Am Empire. Does that mean you'll ever go back and do new stuff, or you just really wanted to have a chance to get this stuff since it never was released out there, but that's about it?
I really hope so. It's not a definite thing. We're just sort of leaving it open ended, but we all do music still to some extent, and the guys are still back in California, so obviously it makes it harder to get together and work on things. But with technology now, as we're seeing at this very moment, or the very moment that you're watching this in the future, we're seeing that it's very possible to collaborate remotely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of been the best silver lining about lockdown and COVID and all this stuff, is all these musicians that have gotten together on projects to do video and collaborations online. It's kind of been a gift to people. And I think it's really brought back a lot of the purity to music and to musicians. And I'm hoping that we can sort of take that energy and, create some new things from it. So we're having those conversations, but I can't promise anything. I don't want to say, we're back. We're not going to be, going out on the road or doing anything like that. There's no
No touring and stuff. Because
that we can continue to collaborate and do new music.
So what you're saying is, when I said back from the dead, what I really mean is still dead, but next to them in the coffin was this album.
something.
Okay. All right.
It's like a listening party at the cemetery
There it is.
Okay. All right. So
of bands.
Of bands, yes.
So one last thing I want to throw at you. You're doing you're still doing Disciple stuff right now. What's going on with Disciple? Because we're getting ready to play a new Disciple song this week as well.
Yeah, it starts on Friday for Darkness Dies, which has been on the Battle of the Buzz as well. So that starts Friday.
Okay, so what's up with Disciple?
You guys are just too good to us, especially me. I mean, look at this. And I do want to take a second to say that, 8, 10, 12 years ago, however long it's been, when I'm Empire was getting started, you guys were one of the first stations to really play us a lot. So first of all, thank you.
Aw.
And quick story about that before I get into the Disciple stuff. I just was remembering this morning before the call. The first time I ever had this happen, we were in Ohio in 2011, I think. And I'm Empire played a concert in this little, when I say a warehouse, it's not like a cool term for a venue. It was actually a warehouse. With a PA system sort of thrown in the middle. And we played with, Children 18-3 and a couple other local bands, I think, on this one. And it was the first time where we played a song called Brain Damage, and everybody sang it. It was at this place in Ohio, and it was because Radio U was playing that song. So,
we do what we
really
can.
Cool.
Aw, those are good memories.
Yeah.
And it's helpful because, bands.
Tip my backwards hat.
Yeah, bands want, the fans. I think that's also why, go back 10 years. It was hard for a band to have the same amount of support and to go around if you weren't touring and stuff, which is why it's such a good time for bands to now be able to come back, do new music, release the old stuff, but then not know that they don't have to go out and tour if that's not something that is possible, but they can still do music and still get support with sending that out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's nice to have maybe somewhat discouraged on the touring side, but they're encouraged to create new stuff. And I think this fall and over the winter, we're going to get so many good releases from artists that have been, locked up for the year, where they normally might have been out on the road the whole time performing instead. So it'll be great. And with Disciple, there's really no exception there. Most of the shows have been canceled for the rest of the year, but I won't speak definitively about that. And as you guys might know, and most people that follow Disciple know, I stopped touring a couple of years ago, so I'm not going to be heading back out on the road, but I am continuing to be involved with writing and recording process here in Nashville. You guys talked to a friend of mine named Josiah Prince recently.
We did.
We were doing some stuff together yesterday for the Disciple Patreon, and we did these 3 songs for the Love Letter Killshot Deluxe Edition over the course of February and March. They were songs that we had written during the writing process for the Killshot album. They didn't get used, but we really liked them, and we knew that this was going to be a possibility. So that was the perfect opportunity to try this out. Hey, what if we just produce these from home? This is kind of what we do now, and let's see how it goes. And I think they came out fantastic.
Awesome. Well, we are talking to Andrew of
everything,
100 different bands. So,
the one to focus on for tonight, though, is to support him and I Am Empire for the Battle of the Buzz with Hudson later today. And then on Friday, Disciple with Darkness Dies will start on Radio U.
All right. Well, Andrew, thanks for hanging with us, dude.
Oh, it's so nice to catch up with
Thank
you.
you
We're
guys.
so glad to hear the music that we never got to hear back with I Am Empire that
Yes.
it's new now.
And the EP's called Another Man's Treasure, which is a little play on, what we threw away 8 years ago and now what we're using today. So you can check it out, stream it, Clever Nightmare.
And the thumbs up.
And the thumbs up. All right.
In case you guys on the radio could not see the thumbs up, that's what that was.
All right. Well, Andrew, hang on for just 1 second.
Hang tight.
So what now?
Well, we'll play Clever Nightmare from I Am Empire. Little before the Battle of Buzz later today.
I like the sound of that, Nikki. It is the Riot.